Hey guys, this is back to my channel, and my name's Andrew. This is Big Muff, and due to some circumstances, we have to have a backup plan. So we will be reading today 12 Angry Men, but there's two of us, so this is two angry men, so bear with us. So I would play all the odd numbers and the judge, and Big Muff here is playing all the even characters, and the guard and the clerk. Okay. Rise of Curtain. The curtain opens on a dark stage, and then as the lights start to come up on the scene, we hear a voice of the judge off stage. Murder in the first degree. Premeditated homicide. It is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in minds as to guilt of the accused, then you must declare him guilty or not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, gentlemen. Big Muff, what are you doing? There's a long pause, yada yada yada. Start with the clerk.
Yeah. You're the foreman.
Start with the clerk.
Ah. I don't see it. All I just see is it starts with oh. Oh, I was just looking at the notes. I'm stupid.
Page 10.
I'm looking at oh yeah, it's the first 15. Ah, shit. I all right.
Page 10.
Page 10. It's the jury will retire. It doesn't stand a chance.
Chewing gum. 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 Thank you, but no. Oh. Chewing gum. 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 Thank you, but no. You know something?
I know a lot of things. I'm in advertising.
You know it's hot.
I never would have known that if he hadn't told me, would you? I suppose not. I'd kind of forgotten. All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you weren't sweating like that kid who was tried. You'd think they at least air conditioned the place. Almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
This should go fast anyway.
Dang.
Yes, it's hot.
Okay, gentlemen. Everybody's here. If there's anything you want, I'm right outside. Just knock.
Did he just lock that door?
Yes, he did.
What do they think we are, crooks? They lock us up for a little while. And then they lock that kid up forever. And that's okay by me. I never knew they did that.
Sure, they locked the door. Sure, they locked the door. What did you think?
I just didn't know. It never occurred to me.
Shall we admit right now that it's hot and humid and our tempers are short? It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. I know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job can be gone. The whole company, too. They aren't going to be like this.
Well, figure this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Ask him to hire you. He's rich. Look at the suit. Is it custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
How's he do?
Not too well. A friend of his, that's all. A friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, this friend wanted to be on this jury in my place. Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this. And get caught of something? Or something? That kind of a fine could pay you for anything like that. Anyway, this friend of my uncle's was a jury once, about 10 years ago. Case just like this one.
So, what happened?
They let him off, reasonable doubt. And do you know? About 8 years later, they found out that he actually done it. Anyway, a guilty man, murderer, was turned loose in the streets. Did they get him?
Yeah, they couldn't.
Why not?
Man can't be held in double jeopardy unless it's a hung jury. You can't try a man twice for the same crime.
That isn't going to happen here. 6 days. They ought to finish it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Everyone gets a fair trial. As a system. Well, I suppose they can't say anything against it. How did you like the business about that knife? Did you ever hear a phonier story?
Well, look, you've got to expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
He bought a switch knife that night.
And then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father. An awful way to kill your father. A knife in the chest. Look at the kind of people they are, you know them.
What's the matter? You got a cold?
Alulu, these hot weather colds can kill you.
I had one last year, while I was on vacation too. Alright, gentlemen, let's take seats. Right, this better be fast. I got tickets to Hamilton for tonight. I must be the only guy in the world who hasn't seen it. Okay, Your Honor, start the show. How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window. How about sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father, bang! Just like that. Well, it's the element. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right. There are better proofs than some emotion you may have, perhaps a dislike for some group.
We all agreed that it was hot. And that our tempers will get short. That is if we disagree. But this is open and shut. Let's get it done. Alright, now you gentlemen can handle this any way you want to. I'm not going to make any rules. If we want to discuss it first then vote, that's one way. Or we can vote it right out and see how we stand. Let's vote now. Who knows, maybe we all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's there.
Right, let's vote now.
Alright, let us vote.
Anyone who doesn't want to vote? That was easy. Alright, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. Jurors 3, 7, 10, and 12 put up their hands up instantly. The foreman and 2, 4, 5, and 6 all fall a second later. Then 11 raises his hand a moment later. 9 puts his hand up. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 11 for guilty. Okay, not guilty? 8's hand goes up. I'll turn to look at him. Hey, you're in left field. Okay, 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now, we know where we stand. Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is A, B, C, T. I don't believe that it is as simple as A, B, C.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He is not guilty until we say he's guilty. Are we to vote him on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. The man is a dangerous killer. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Oh, well.
I would like to know. Tell me, what the fucking facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know. Look! What is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent? He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He knocked his own father. 4 inches into the chest. An innocent little 19-year-old kid.
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
Alright, then proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
Nah. Well, do you believe that stupid story you told? Now. Do you believe the kid's story? I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not that easy for me to raise my hand and send the boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
Or me. No one.
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote. Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
I think the guy's guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Just what are you thinking of?
I want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life, living in a slum. His mother dead since he was 9. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way? Because we knock him over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe we owe him a few words. That's all. Alright, it's hard, sure. It was hard for me. Everything I've got I fought for. I worked my way through college. That was a long time ago, and perhaps you do forget. I fought yes, but I never killed.
You know what it's like? I never killed anyone.
I've been kicked around too, but until you've worked in an ad agency and the big boy that buys the advertising wall walks in, you all know.
In my country, who speaks with an accent?
My country in Europe.
In my country in Europe, kicking was a science. But let's not find something better than that.
Science, baby. I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't owe the kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown-ups here. You're not going to tell us that we're supposed to believe him, knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say, you know that?
I don't know that. What a terrifying thing for a man to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth. Alright, it's not Sunday. Do we need a sermon? We don't need a sermon. What this man is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like gentlemen.
Right.
Alright, if you insist. Thank you. Sure. If we're going to discuss this case, why, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good point. We have a job to do. Let's do it. If you gentlemen don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck. If you don't mind, I'd like to have the window open.
You're gonna have an argument with yourself.
It was blowing on me. Don't you want a little air? It's summer. It's hot. I was very uncomfortable. There are 12 of us in this room. It's the only window, if you don't mind. I have some rights too, so do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs with someone at the other end of the table?
Alright, I will open the window if someone would trade.
Hey, take my chair!
Thank you. Shall we get back to the case? Yeah, let's.
I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right, and he's wrong. Maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, try it on for size.
That sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table? Alright, let's start it off. Right. We'll start with you.
Oh well, I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious. In what way was it obvious? I mean that nobody proved otherwise. Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it. Everyone has. Yeah, sure, I've heard of it. I know what it is. What I meant. Well, anyway, I think he's guilty. No reasons, just guilty. There's a life at stake here.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Number 1, let's state the old man who lived on the second floor right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after 12 of the night of the killing, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight, and then he heard the kid say to his father, "I'm going to kill you." A second later he heard a body falling, and he ran to the door of his apartment, looked out, and saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with the knife in his chest. Oh, talking makes me tired. And the coroner fixed the time of the death around midnight. Right. Now what else do you want?
Doesn't seem to fit. The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, ain't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
That's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right. He didn't have a ticket stub.
Who keeps his ticket stub at the movies? That's true enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember him. And the ticket talker didn't either. Ticket taker.
Look, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove it, then nothing else. Then nothing does. That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know. Anyway, she wakes up and she looks out the window, and right across the street she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. How can she really be sure if it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train? She's known the kid all his life. His window is right opposite hers, across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it. I heard her swear to it. Okay, and they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it. Weren't you telling us just a minute or two ago that you can't trust them? Then you can't believe them. So? Then I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she? You're a pretty smart fellow, aren't you?
Now, take it easy. Come on, sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Gentlemen, they did take us out to the woman's room and we looked through the windows of a passing L train. Didn't we? Yes, we did. And weren't you able to see what happened on the other side? I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but I did see what happened on the other side. Do you see?
Okay, let's calm down now. It's your turn. I'll pass it. That's your privilege. How about you, Six? I don't know.
I don't know. I started to be convinced. You know, with the testimony from the people across the hall, didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I can be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock. They heard the father hit the boy twice and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house. Right. What does that prove? Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of it's been said already. We can talk about all day of this thing. But I think we're wasting our time.
I don't. Neither do I. Go on.
Look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm.
They did.
He was picking up for knife fighting at 15. He was in reform school. And they sent him to reform school for stabbing someone? This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
So would I. On a kid like that? You're right. It's the kids. The way they are. You know, they don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw him. I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or I'm gonna bust you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15, he hit me around the face. He's big, you know. I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out, and... Alright, let's go on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy says he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are beating grounds for criminals. They are. I know it. So do you. The children who come out of the slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society. You said it, 3. I don't want any part of them. Believe me. 5.
Oh, yeah. I've lived in a slum all my life.
And now wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that is filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me. Now, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal. There is something personal. Come on now. He didn't mean you, fella. He's not to us not to be sensitive.
Well, who did he mean?
I can understand this sensitivity. Now, let's stop the bickering.
Hey, we're wasting time.
It's your turn.
Alright, I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unmasked. While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kids still, I agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So...
I thought it sounded like not like
so.
This is the point.
What about the facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about the cute little switch knife. You know, the one fine upright kid admitted buying.
Alright, let's talk about it. Let's get in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again. Mr. Foreman?
Mr. Foreman knocks on the door. The guard unlocks the door. Foreman whispers to him. Guard nods and leaves. Blah, blah, blah. We all know what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see why you have to look at it again. What do you think?
The gentleman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay with me.
The knife is a pretty strong evidence. This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence. Don't you agree? I do. Now let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife. The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father, or punched. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
I think everyone agrees that is a unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far? Right.
You bet he's right. Now listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, and he never saw it again. Now there's a story, gentlemen. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home and a few hours later stabbed his father with it, and he remembered to wipe off his fingerprints.
Door opens, guard walks in with an oddly designed knife with a tag on it. 4 crosses, takes the knife from him. The guard goes out, closing and locking the door.
Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now you are trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street and went up to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing? No, I'm saying that it is possible that the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible. Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence? I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible. What are they trying to do?
Yeah, what is this? Who do you think you are?
Look at it. It's the same knife. Quiet, let's be quiet.
Where'd you get it? I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. Cost $2.
Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there's 10 knives of it. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked into the movies. And maybe he was ashamed to say so. Is there anybody here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Really?
We didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Oh. Maybe he did go to the movies, maybe he didn't, and he may have lied. Do you think he lied? Now that's a stupid question. Sure he lied. Do you? You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied. Do you think he lied?
I don't know. Now, wait a second. What are you? The guy's a lawyer. Listen, there are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. What do you think you're gonna accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty, sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what if you're gonna do about it? We can be here all night. It's only one night. A man may die. Oh, come on now.
Well, yes, that's true.
I think we gotta get on with it now. Right, let's get going. Let's get going here.
How do you like this guy?
Well, what do you say? You're the one holding the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty. 8, I have a doubt in my mind. But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. There's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kid shriek it out.
The woman across the L tracks. She saw it. We know he bought the switch knife that night, and we don't know where he really was. At the movies? Earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way. Well, that still doesn't prove anything. Still, you know. I got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 men to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in the guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it. That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed?
Certainly am. Let's roll it.
Perhaps this is best. Guilty, 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 guilty. That's 6. Please. 6 guilty, 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 guilty. Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we had to know right now. Curtain. Boom.
2 seconds later.
Okay, so basically now it's technically an intermission. Okay. It is only a second or 2 later. Alright, who did it? What idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of the dead man or the life of a murderer? I want to know. Who? So do I. Excuse me, this was a secret ballot. No one looked while we did it, but now I want to know. A secret ballot. We agreed on that point. No? If the gentleman wants it to remain a secret. What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty, and then this slick preacher starts to tear your heart out with stories of a poor little kid who just couldn't help become a murderer. So you change your vote? If that isn't most sickening. Now hold it.
I agree with you that the man is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it. Be fair. That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair, where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales? Now just wait a minute. Now you just listen to me. Let's try to keep this organized, gentlemen.
Wait, this one says rapping on table.
Oh, he's doing that. Banging the table.
Yeah, it's the one, like, that one hammer. I forgot what it was called.
It's not that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. It isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought of a man as entitled to have an unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. Do you disagree with us? Usually I would, but in this case I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is that in my own country, I am ashamed to say.
Oh, now! What do we have to listen to? The whole history of your country? It's always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote? I want to know too. You haven't told us yet. Why do you think I did change my vote? Because I do. Now get on with it. There's something for him to tell you. He didn't change his vote. I did. I was going to tell you, but you were so sure of yourself. Sorry. Okay, now, maybe you'd like to know why. Let me tell you why. The man wants to talk. Thank you. This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. And he has a great deal of courage to stand alone even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for support and I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2.
That's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on. If there was anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty. I don't see what it is. Neither do I. They're clutching at straws. As guilty as they get, that's the kid, I suppose. It's that one juror that's holding out, but he'll come around. He's got to, and fundamentally, he's a very reasonable man. I guess so. They haven't come up with one real fact yet to back up the not guilty verdict. It's hard, you know? Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean? What's a reasonable doubt? Exactly. When a life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have a law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone would start knifing people. Not much down here. Two men think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why. You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or death sometimes. Then years later, things turn up. And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out some technicality and kill again. Bing, bing, bing.
Look, buddy. Now that's kind of cooled off. Why, I was a little excited a minute ago. Well, you know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal. Okay. Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy is on trial as guilty. I'm not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose. But who else had a motive?
The kid's father was along in years. Maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is a guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It is an important thing to remember. Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubt is. This is not easy. So far, it is only a feeling I have. A feeling perhaps you don't understand. No, I don't.
A feeling? What are you gonna do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you!" A second later, he heard the father's boy falling, and he saw the boy running out of the house. 15 seconds after that. Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right. Let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it!
Now, if that's not enough for you...
It's not enough for me. What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like him? It's like he's taken into the dead phone. Talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through a window of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
Well, what do you gotta say about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it. Lend me your pencil. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. We might as well pass the time.
This isn't a game.
Now wait a minute.
This is a man's life.
Who do you think you are? Alright, let's take it easy. I've got a good mind to walk around this table and belt him one. Now please, I don't want any fights in here. Did you see him? The nerve, the absolute nerve?
Alright, forget it. It doesn't mean anything. How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains? Yes, we are. So, alright, how long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point? What has that got to do with anything? How long would it take? Yes. I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I. I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would like to think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes. Alright, we're agreed. 10 seconds. Where are you getting at? This. An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds. That given point is the window of the room at which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of the window of that room and touch the L, right?
That's right. I tried it.
So? Alright, now let me ask you this. Did anyone here ever live right next to the L tracks?
I'd live close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I lived right by the L tracks. When your window was open and the train goes by, the noise is also unbearable. You can't hear yourself think. Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get to the point. The old man who lived downstairs heard the voice say...
He didn't say it. He screamed it.
The old man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you!" And 1 second later, he heard a body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right? Right. The one across the street looked through the windows of the last 2 cars of the L and saw the body fall, right? Right. So? The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars! What are you giving us here? An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. The L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his noise. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure he could have heard it.
Would an L train going by?
He said the boy yelled it out.
An L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise...
What are you people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, it stands to reason. You're crazy. Why would he lie? What's he got to gain? Attention, maybe? You keep coming up with bright sayings. Why don't you send one in the newspaper? Then pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It is just that I looked at him for a very long time. He seemed of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket. He carried 2 canes. I don't think I know him. I think I know him better than anyone else here. This is a quite frightening, insignificant man who has been nothing all his life, who has never had recognition, his name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned, and listened to, and quoted just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell me he lied about a thing like this just so he can be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face. Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that? I'm not making it up. You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that. He made himself believe he told the truth. What do you know about it? I speak from experience. What? I am the same man.
I think we all understand now. Thank you.
If you just want to admit you're a liar, that's all right by me.
Now that is too much.
He is a liar. He just told us so.
He did not say he was a liar. He was explaining.
Didn't you admit you're a liar?
Please, he was explaining the circumstances so that he could understand why the old man might have lied. There is a difference.
A liar is a liar. There's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Gentlemen, please, we have a job, and our duty is here.
I hope they've covered it. I hope we have.
Alright, is there anything else?
Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Anybody want a cough drop?
Come on, let's get on with it.
I'll take one. Thanks. Now, there's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we've proved that the old man couldn't have heard anything. Have heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him through anyway. But supposing the old man really did hear the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you." This phrase, how many times have each of you used it? Probably 100. If you do that one more, Junior, I'm gonna murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him! We say it every day. This doesn't mean that we're gonna kill someone. Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat? The old man was murdered.
One more thing. The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you," if the boy screamed it at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Now, don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anyone says a thing like that, the way they said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it? Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy would shout a thing like that so the whole neighborhood would hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that. Bright? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak the good English.
I like how you did that with not speaking good English.
He don't speak. Yeah, 11.
He doesn't speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you've changed your vote.
I just think there's doubt. Where? Where is the doubt? There's the knife. Oh, fine.
He talked you into believing a fairy tale. Go on, give us the reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie, but then just maybe he did. Maybe the old man doesn't like the kid. Well, if that isn't the end, I believe there is some reasonable doubt. What are you basing it on? Stories to a guy? Made up? He ought to write down Amazing Detective Monthly. He'd make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points? Lawyers can't think of everything. Oh, brother, you sit in here and pull stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing?
That's the testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore to this. Yes, he swore to this. Only so he could be important? Didn't the old man say he ran to the door? Ran. What? What's the difference? He got there. I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went. I remember it now. He went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it? I'm just... Man.
Where was his...
Where is the bed? Where is the bedroom again? Down the hall somewhere. Down the hall? Are we to send the man off to die because it's down the hall somewhere? I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that? No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
Why don't we have them run the trial over just so you can get everything straight?
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know exactly where it is? Please, man's life is at stake. Do you know?
Well,
Mr. Foreman?
I heard you. Alright, what's this one for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see exhibits all the time? I want to see this one too. So do I. And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wadding through all of this nonsense about where the body was found? Dead body reported. We're not. We're going to find out how a man who has had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes could get to his... Oh, what the fuck? The door in 15 seconds. He said
20 seconds.
Said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of thing. He said 15. He was very positive about it. He's an old man, you saw, and half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything? Well, you know.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know. Hey, is this what you wanted?
That's right, thank you.
Sure, that's my job.
You want this?
Yes, please.
Do me a favor. Wake me when it's over.
I looked at the diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough. Some of us are interested. Go ahead. Alright, this is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are some of the L tracks. The bedroom, another bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen, and this is the hall. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, the old man was in the bed in this room. He said he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall to the front door and opened it and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right? That's the story.
That's what happened.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
Correct.
His bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 40 feet 6 inches. He had to get up out of bed, get his cane, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door all in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible? You know it's possible. I don't see why not. He would have been in a hurry.
He could have been in a hurry. He did hear the scream. He could only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair. You made it sound like it was a long walk. It's not. For an old man who uses the cane all the time to walk, what are you doing?
I was trying this thing. Let's see how long it took, and I'm going to pace off 12 feet the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that. Perhaps if we could see it, this is an important point. It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let him do it. I can't see any harm in it. Foolish, but go ahead. Hand me a chair, please. Right. This is the bedroom door. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room? I'd like to say it was 12 feet.
20.
Just about. 20 feet is close enough, alright. From here to the door and back is about 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall and the old man had to move through.
A few feet, maybe.
Wouldn't you say that?
A few feet, maybe.
Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop him.
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. You just gotta watch with a second hand. I have. When you want me to stomp your foot, that'll be the by following. We'll time you from there. Let's say he keeps his cane right at his bedside, right? Right. Okay, I'm ready. 2. I'm waiting for the hand to get to 60. Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom. No, it isn't.
If you think I should go faster, I will. Hey, speed it up a little. Stop! What's right? And what's the time? 15, 20, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
It can't be. 39 seconds.
Now that's interesting.
Hey, no, you know. Hey, now, you know. What do you think of that? 39 seconds. 39.
The old cripple swore on his oath it was 15.
Maybe you've been a little bit off on the speed of that cripple move, but 24 seconds off. Well, now, you know. Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, even allowing for quite a difference in speed between old men and you. Why, still, there's quite a
discrepancy. It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the door, heard something racing down the stairs, and assumed that it was the boy. Yeah, I think that's possible.
Assumed. Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all these things, this honestly, in my day, but this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty, boy?
Tell him. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice, and you make up these wild stories, and you've got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting real sick of you. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up. Let me go. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you? Bum 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 bum.
Intermission. Yay.
Yay.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay, start where you want.
Alright. Is there anything wrong, gentlemen? I heard some noise.
No, there's nothing wrong. You can take it back. We're finished with it. Well, what are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is a remarkable thing about democracy, that we are, what is the word, notified, as we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on a guilty or innocent of a man of which we've not known before. This has nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing. Thank you very much. Why do you think me? Why do you think me? We forget. It's good to be reminded.
I'm glad that we're going to be civilized about it. Well, we're still nowhere. No, we're somewhere, or getting there maybe. Maybe. Who's got an idea? I think maybe we should try another vote. Mr. Foreman?
That's alright with me. Anyone doesn't want to vote?
Let's vote. Yes, vote.
So alright, let's do it. I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where. That sounds fair. Anyone object?
Oh, yeah.
I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
3? Guilty. 4?
Guilty.
5? Not guilty. 6?
Ain't guilty to me.
7? Guilty. 8?
No.
9? Not guilty. 10?
It's guilty to me.
11? Not guilty. 12? 12?
Yeah, he's guilty to me.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6. I'm ready to walk into the courtroom and declare a hung jury. There's no point in going on anymore.
I'd like to know why you changed your mind, and why you changed your mind, and why you did. There are 6 men here who think that we may have a turning, that we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotion won't do. Why? It would seem that the old man did not see the boy run downstairs. I do not think it likely that the old man heard someone scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream, and if the boy did scream that he was going to kill, we have the authority of this man to prove that it might not really mean he's going to kill.
Why don't we take it in the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other guys? 6 to 6. 6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything. It must be unanimous, and we're never going to convince him.
At first I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a doubt.
You can't ever convince me that there is a doubt, because I know there isn't a doubt.
I tell you what, maybe we are in a hung jury. It happens sometimes. We are not going to be a hung jury.
But we are, right now, a perfect balance. Let's take it to the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
The doubt is there, in my mind. Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean, vote?
Not again.
I still want to know. Vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean that we vote yes, we are in a hung jury, or no, we are not in a hung jury?
That's just what I was thinking of. We can't even agree on whether or not the window should be open. Let it make it a majority vote. Majority wins.
If 7 or more of us vote yes, then we are a hung jury. Then we take it into the judge and tell him that we are a hung jury.
Yeah, right. If 7 or more vote no, that means we aren't a hung jury, and we go on discussing it.
It doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution. I agree, it's the only way.
Anything to end this?
Are we agreed then? 7 more votes yes, and we take it to the judge. Let's call our votes. I vote yes, we are a hung jury. 2?
No.
3? Yes. 4?
Yeah.
5? No. 6?
No.
7? Yes. 8?
Not even close.
9, no. 10,
No.
11, no. 12,
Yep.
oh no. It's 6-6. We can't even get majority to decide whether we're a hung jury.
I went along with the majority vote on this question, and I didn't agree with voting that way. Not really, and I still don't, so I'm changing my vote. I say no, we are not in a hung jury. I believe that the boy is guilty because, beyond a reasonable doubt, there are some things I want to find from those gentlemen to change their minds.
Then we aren't a hung jury, so we go on.
Good, we go on. Why did you change your mind? He seems to be sure, and he has made a number of good points. Well, he gets mad and insults everybody. Does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the boy? He did do it. Are you going to turn the murderer loose because one of the jurors gets angry and when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose? That's true.
There's a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So the L train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves, so the old man could have heard a scream which is high pitch, and it is a tenement, and they have thin walls.
Good. That's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about the time it took to get to the door, but right about whom he saw? Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints on the knife, and it is summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
Now, I want you to listen to the man. He's got the goods.
It might have taken a few seconds to get a handkerchief and wipe the fingerprints away. This is a point.
Why don't we just time this one to see? Just what are we timing?
Yes, let's be exact, please. I'm saying that the old man downstairs might have been wrong about how long it took him to get to the door, but that he was right about whom he saw running down the stairs. Now, it may have taken the murderer about 39 seconds to wipe away all the fingerprints to get down the stairs to the place where the old man saw him. The boy, that's it.
This is right. We reconstruct the old man getting out of bed and go to the door. We time that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime. As well as we can reconstruct it. I think a murderer could use 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily up at that point.
Let's reconstruct the killing.
Yes, let's. Here, you do the stabbing.
No, I'll do it.
Why don't you just be the one that gets stabbed? You're younger than I am. And don't forget, you take 1 second to fall.
And he was found on his side, his right side, so fall and roll onto your right side. If someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think that it's reasonable to suppose that the murderer would look at his victim for a second or two? Divorce yourself from this particular case, just human nature. Yeah, it seems reasonable.
Hey, wait a minute. He falls and ends up on his right side. The father did. But stabbing someone like that isn't like just shooting them. Even if it's right in the heart, the father would have worked around it for a few seconds, lying there on the floor, writhing maybe.
That's quite possible. There would have been enough oxygen in the system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds, I should think.
Wouldn't the father have cried out? Maybe the kid held his mouth.
That also seems possible. Also, there's another point we might bring out. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe the fingerprints away after murdering someone, that person is also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment or the room in this case to see if there are any other clues. It would just be for a second or two, I should think, but still, he would look around.
This gets better and better.
I'm trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk about quality when murder is involved. Well, let's do it.
About this on the fingerprints. The kid wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and he was wiping a doorknob with a handkerchief as he came in, it would give me an uneasy feeling. So doorknobs must have been wiped after the killing, and this too, which would take time.
You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one too? Alright. Stamp your foot when you want me to start it. I want the hand to be at 60. I'm gonna kill you. Yabba 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 yab yab. stop. 20, yeah. 25, 29, about 29 and a half seconds, I'd say. And whoever did murder the old man, and I think it was the kid, he still had to run down the hall and down the stairs. At least one flight of stairs.
You see? You see?
The old man downstairs may have been wrong on the time, but in view of this, I think it's quite reasonable to assume that he did see the kid run downstairs. So now both time sequences check, the one you did and the one we did. What was running down stairs and everything, it does pretty much check out on times.
Sure, he's an old man who wants attention. He's probably right, but the old man feels like the way everyone does, that life is at stake.
So the story of the old man may as well be true. Except for the fact that he's absolutely swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
We all seem to agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit that this does tend to confirm the story of the old man. But in part, he is now a proven liar, and this is by your own admission. That may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think it will change my vote once more. Guilty.
What do you think now?
I'm not sure what I think. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty. Then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
And what about you?
No.
No. I am real doubt. I say guilty. I was right the first time. Now we're beginning to make sense here. It seems 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
Now, one more question about the old man's downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings?
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, what's that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close and there is just enough light in the hall so you could see the steps. No more the light bulbs are so small, and this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs, and one even had a flashlight. Remember, the old man time by 20 seconds on this work.
What are you doing?
Oh shit!
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds on this, we all agree. This old man looked down the dark hallway of the tenant and recognized a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
And then we cannot go, then not the old man 100% wrong who we saw. This is the most idiotic thing I ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
Or a hung jury. Let's be honest about it.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt? Yes, I do. I beg your pardon, but maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt. What do you mean I don't understand it? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? How do you like this guy? He comes over the running for his life, and before he can even take a breath, he's telling us how to run the show. An arrogance of him.
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learn some things we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, I am used to this. It's alright. Thank you.
It's not alright.
Okay, I apologize. Is this what you want?
Nah, that's what I want.
Alright, let's stop arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Oh, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business about the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it, you know.
Look, you're not going to just be satisfied until you see it again. I'm going to give you a demonstration. Someone get up.
Wait.
Okay. Now watch this. I don't want to have to do it again. Is that 6 inches? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. It's don't tell me we're going to
don't
start.
Don't tell me we're going to start anything, blah, blah, blah. I know they did, blah, blah, blah. The boy
I
is
know they
5.
did.
His father's 6'2", different 6 inches. Blah blah blah.
I'm number 2.
I know. I'm just skipping. I don't want to reread all that thing.
Oh, that's...
They can read if they want.
yeah. You're number 3?
You're number 12, though.
Oh. That's more than 6 inches.
Okay, let it be more.
That's what she said. Oh, look out. That's not funny.
What's the matter with you? Now come down. Nobody got hurt. Are they? Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, alright. No, nobody's hurt.
Alright. There's your ankle. Now look at it. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller man. In the chest. That's how, it was done. Take a look at it. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Down in, I guess there's no argument. Did you ever stab a man? Of course not. Did you?
Alright, let's not be silly.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Where do you get all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No.
Google it. Oh, right. I want to ask you something. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so? That's right. Look at this. Doesn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for? Wait a minute. What's the matter with me? Give me the knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in a vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny that I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would never have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. Use it underhanded.
And he couldn't have made that kind of wound he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose so. It's conceivable that he made the wound, but it's not likely, nor if he'd ever had any experience with switch knives, and we know that the kid had a lot of experience with switch knives. I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo. What do you think? Well, I don't know. What about you?
Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing already. We're getting nowhere fast. Let's break it up and go home.
Before we decide anything more, I would like to try to pull this together.
That should be good.
Yeah, that's right. Let him go ahead. Do you want me to time this too?
Let's hear him.
I'm in advertising. I'm used to the big shots pulling things together. Let's chip us a few shots to see if any one of them land on the green. I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
I want to know, is this kid smart or is the kid dumb? What do you mean? This is a kid who has gone to the reform school for knife fighting. The night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switchblade, and it would have taken a very stupid kid to go and murder a man. His father was an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I agree. He's dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make with a knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred. At that moment, he would have handled the knife as best as he could. A trained knife fighter would handle it as he has been trained, underhand. A man who has not been trained will go overhead. But the kid is being very smart. Everyone knows that he is an experienced knife fighter, so he is smart enough at that moment to make the wound. They aren't sure. would make. That man is a very smart man, smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away, perhaps even smart enough to wait until an L train was going by in order to cover the noise. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
Hey, now, wait a minute. Well, the woman across the L track saw the murder through the L train, so someone in the L train could have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
It would take an awful dumb man to take that chance, doing a murder as a train went by.
Exactly, a dumb man. A very stupid man. A man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train coming. And whoever did murder the father did it as well as he could. So, the kid is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with a switch knife. A switch knife murder, and then the moment after the murder, he becomes smart. The kid is smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else, and yet at the same time, instantly, he is dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. And then a moment later, he is smart enough to wipe fingerprints away to make this boy guilty. So I would say he is dumb from 8 o'clock until about midnight, and then about midnight he is smart 1 second, then dumb for a few seconds, and then smart again, and once again he becomes stupid. So stupid that he does not think of a good alibi. Now, is this kid smart or is he dumb? To say that he is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt. I hadn't thought of that. And the old man downstairs. On the stand, he swore that it was 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds, but he agreed that it must have been almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time when he does tell the truth of the other half then?
For the kid to be guilty, he must be stupid, then smart, and stupid, then smart, and so on. And also, for the kid to be guilty, the old man downstairs must be a liar half of the time, and the other half of the time he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too. I want more talk. Now I've had it. I want another vote.
Okay, there's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way to show is a show of hands. Anyone object? Alright. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 9. All those voting guilty? 3. The vote is 9-3 in the favor of acquittal. Go.
Now, I don't understand, you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? Look, you know, how those people lie, I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. Let me tell you, they don't need any real big reason to kill someone. Either you don't, either. Fuck. You know, they get drunk and bang, someone's lying in the gutter. Nobody's blaming them. That's how they are. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life don't mean as much as to them as it does to us. Hey, where are you all going? Look, these people's drinking and fighting all killed. They don't care. Oh, sure, there are some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first to say that. I've known a few who were pretty decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? I'm speaking my piece, and you listen to me. There's no good. There's not a one of them who is any good. You better watch out. Take it from me. This kid's on trial. Well, don't you know about them? Listen to me. What are you doing? I'm trying to tell you something. I've had enough. If you open your mouth again, I'm gonna split your skull. I'm only trying to tell you. Alright, sit down, everybody. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who claimed she actually saw the murder committed.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
Alright, let's go over her testimony. Like, what exactly did she say? I believe I can recount it accurately. She said that she went to bed at about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the open window, and she could look out of the window while lying down and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, she turned towards the window at about 10, and as she looked out, she saw the boy stab his father. As far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
That's right. I mean, that's the whole case.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. Acquittal. What do you think about it? Well, maybe there's so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean, maybe? He's absolutely right. You can throw all the other evidence.
That was my feeling. I don't deny the validity of the points that he has made. Shall I say that on one side of the track there is doubt, but what can you say about the story of the woman? She saw it? What time is it?
10 minutes to 6.
You don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish it in the morning? I've got a kid with mumps.
Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses? Not clearly. Oh, glasses are a nuisance, aren't they? Well, what do you all do when you wake up at night, want to know what time it is? I put my glasses on and look at the clock. I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. My father gave it to me when we married, my wife and I. It was 10 years before we had a place to put in. Do you wear glasses to bed? Do you wear your glasses to bed? Of course not. No one wears glasses to bed. I do on occasions. The woman who testified that she saw the killing wears glasses. What about her? Did she wear glasses?
Of course. The women are bifocals. I remember this very clearly. She looked quite strong. That's right. Bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny, I never thought of that. I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing her glasses in bed, and I don't think she'd put them on to glance casually out of the window. She testified that the murder took place the instant she looked out, and that the lights were on a split second later. She could have had time to put out her glasses then. Now perhaps this woman honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say that she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anyone think there still is not a reasonable doubt? I always wonder, but there's a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else? Well, I'm convinced now there's a reasonable doubt. You're alone. 11 votes.
11 votes, 1 not guilty. 1 guilty. I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I'll have the right.
Yes, you have a right.
Well, I told you. I think the kid's guilty. What else do you want?
What, your arguments?
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
Listen, what's the matter with you? You're the guy. You made all the arguments. You can't turn now. A guilty man's going to be walking the street. A murderer. He's got to die. Stay with me.
I'm sorry, I'm convinced. I don't think I'm wrong often, but I guess I was this once. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind. We're waiting.
You're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's going to be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about that except hope that some night, maybe in a few months, why you might get some sleep.
You're all alone. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If it is a hung jury, there will be another trial, and some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers. 3 looks around the table.
All right. The guard opens. Blah blah.
They're waiting. Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty. That's it.
Curtains.
That's it. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. And hope we see you next time. Bye.